look at our distinctive characteristics, and see if our characters have changed by the end of the novel. I think well-rounded and deep characters like the ones we've been observing always change within a novel. So we're going to use this assignment next week to kind of compare what we used to think, and maybe we think something different, or maybe we're so good at inferencing, we knew from the very beginning that this character blank, whatever our claim is. Ty?
Well, I already finished the book, so my claim kind of also has part of it in.
I'm fine with that, since I told you you could use evidence from the end of the book, but I still think, don't fill in that last third, I still think when we're done talking in depth about it, when we've examined deeper parts of the book, you might come up with a different conclusion or develop your conclusion a little bit more. Does that make sense? Good? Addie?
Are we sharing these?
Not today. We might do it next week. I haven't quite decided if I want to do it next week, if we want us to share or not next week. So what you're going to do with these papers is not lose them. You're going to put them in your folder. You're going to not lose them. So go ahead and do that now, because don't forget, you're going to need these next week. If you still need to finish it, take it home and finish it, but do not lose it. Bring it back for next week, please. And no, we have tons more to do. We're just done with that little warm-up. 4. We're going to switch gears a little bit. You're going to need it again, hopefully. I think we'll have time to use them again. That's my answer. Oh, I might have given you only 3. There's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Are you making fun of me? Uh-huh.
No, we're not reading, are we?
In language arts class? Mackenzie. Emma, what's up? Why so unhappy?
I want to write.
Sorry you're tired. 4. Welcome to class. Thank you, ma'am. All right, class. Our next task is this article. Okay, so here's the thing. We're switching gears. We finished up our characterization activity. Thanks, Jenna. And we're going to switch gears to something else. I think it's way cool. I'm excited. We are going to examine today and probably part of tomorrow the illustrations of A Monster Calls and talk about the artist, talk about how he created these illustrations, and how they work with the text of the book to create a really complete story, okay? So that's what we're going to be working on today. I want us to close read some illustrations using how we close read some text, which we've done in the past. We've practiced and practiced. We're going to apply that to illustrations, kind of like we did with the different covers. Remember when we did that to introduce the novel? And we looked at those 3 different covers and we close read them? We'll be doing something like that. And then I also want us to recognize how illustrations inform text and affect meaning, meaning how those 2 things, the illustrations and the writing, work well together. All right? Those are my goals for us for the rest of class and probably for half of tomorrow. So I've given you an article. It is about the author of A Monster Calls and the illustrator. So Patrick Ness is the author, and Jim Kay is the illustrator. And they're both awesome. So this article kind of talks about how they worked together, and I've highlighted especially the parts about Jim Kay and his illustrations, how he did the artwork for A Monster Calls, because it's really interesting. And he's kind of like, I don't know, it's not what you expect. He does like weird things, and I like it a lot. So what I'd like you to do, read this article and annotate in your own way. I'm not going to highlight how you annotate. You're looking for the main idea of the article. And what I want you to specifically look at are the parts about Jim Kay, the illustrator, the parts about the artwork and what informed the artwork and how it developed and things like that. That's what I especially want you to focus on with this article while you're annotating. Okay, when you're done reading, at the bottom, of course, I want you to write the main idea of this article. Give me the main idea in a complete sentence, and make sure you're taking time with the main idea. It's an important skill for you to practice as well, that you're pulling out the most important part of this and encompassing it in a sentence or two. Paige? I do. I'll put out the highlighter so you guys can use that. Any other questions? Okay, I think you guys are going to like this article. It's like, it will tell you a lot about the book, and it's really interesting. So go ahead and get started reading. I will, when I see most of you are done, I'll come and check some of your main ideas, okay? Highlighters are right there. They probably will a little bit. Read your paper. Do you have a pencil or something to annotate? Okay, cool. No, sorry, I nodded and then the answer's not always. you write a sentence that you think is the main idea. Yes, ma'am.
Are we highlighting the main idea? Is that all we're highlighting?
I just want you to annotate whatever you think is important. Circle words, write questions and comments, just like when you're actively reading. Sorry, Paige. If you're finished and you have a strong main idea, raise your hand for me. I'll come around to you in just a second. Let me see your main idea. Cool. Will you write that on the board? Thank you. Keep your hand raised. I don't know who you are. Mandy, let me see your main idea. Sorry.
To do what Kate does, but it
All right, go write that on the board. Not with that one. Megan. Oh, go ahead and write that on the board. Let me see what you have typed. Miguel. Cool, like that. Here you go. Oh, that's like the same as Miguel's. It's really good, but I'm not gonna have you write it. Nice, nice. Someone else has that. Nice, nice. I like that. Go ahead and write that on the board.
related to this, or just like in general?
The main idea of this article, that's what I want you to write. Okay.
Sorry, it's yellow.
Cool, I like it. Go write that on the board. Sure. All right, guys. I'm going to give you 1 minute to finish up. 1 minute to finish up. Thank you. Thank you. I like it. I like it. Someone else has one kind of similar. I like it. Yeah, turn it in when you get it done. I just started grading them today. QUES. All right, class, I've got some people writing their main ideas on the board. I just wanted like a good variety of main ideas for us to take a look at. But first, I want to kind of dive into the text a little bit. I want to see what you guys highlighted as a really important or interesting part. Maybe you had a question about a part or a comment. So, Scott, will you point out a certain part that you thought was really interesting?
Well, this one's kind of like, it is interesting to me, but it was kind of in a weird way. But where it was is the second to last paragraph. At the very end it says, I tend not to describe my characters in detail so readers can identify and step into space. I think that's an entire thing about the book that was kind of answered, because I remember we were wondering why, like, I remember somebody asked a question where, did it ever describe how he looked? And
Connor?
he did, so
Yeah.
I think that's kind of interesting how, like, he purposely intended that to happen.
Thank you, Scott. That's perfect. I like how Scott pointed out the exact piece of textual evidence to support what he noticed. We're on the back page. And Ness, who's the writer, explains that he doesn't really describe his characters in detail, so that when you're reading the book, you can make your own inferences, which kind of puts you in that fantasy world. It kind of breaks down those barriers and helps the book become a door to the imaginary world, right? He even says, just right above that, at Ness's request, Connor's face is not shown in the pictures either. So hopefully, I don't know if you guys noticed that or not so far, but hopefully while you continue to read the book, you'll notice that Connor never has a face. Sometimes he's like turned away from the frame, but sometimes he's turned right to it and he just doesn't have like features. So I think that's really interesting, and it's a good part to point out in this article. It kind of gives us some answers as we're reading the book. Is there another part that anyone found particularly interesting or surprising that you'd like to point out, Addie?
I liked how in the second to last paragraph it says like he threw ink and blew it through straws, and that obviously is the monster how he did that. But it was cool because I've like done that before, so it's like cool to think that like he wasn't being like super.
Meticulous,
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah, I like that, Addie. That's like one of my favorite parts about this article, Ty, is we learn about Jim Kay's process when he made this artwork. And it says in the back page, like these two paragraphs, like he was like using like wood and sticks and leaves and like a chestnut. And he's like finding stuff on the ground and dipping it in ink and then like rubbing it on the paper. And that's how he made these illustrations. Isn't that awesome? I love that he's taking all of these found things and all of these different tools and creating these pictures. I think there's something really significant about that. And I love hearing that, I don't know, he just was like being really creative and kind of crazy. And his pictures kind of show that, but you would never know that he really used sticks and wood and stuff like that. I read something, it's not in this article, but I read something somewhere that while he was using ink, this is all in ink, while he was using the ink, a little bug walked across his desk and walked across the image and left a little bug trail. And he was like, I'll use that. And so he just left it. Isn't that cool? I love that. Okay, so I liked learning those things about how he created the illustrations. Michaelin, what part did you want to point out?
Well, I was gonna ask Andy first.
Yes. Emma, what part did you want to point out?
Like he actually made like the church that the person was buried in.
Yeah, that was really cool. What part was that? Like, where did it say that, Emma? I can't remember. Oh, the very last paragraph. Thank you. The very last paragraph says that Jim Kay painted, I can't remember, what page is it, Megan?
79.
79. So open to 79 if you have your book with you. That picture is the actual church with an actual cemetery and an actual yew tree. And it's the place where Siobhan Dowd, who had the first idea for this, it says at the beginning, she had the idea and was going to start writing the book when she passed away because she had cancer. So when he painted that illustration, he went to the actual cemetery where she was buried and painted that scene. Is that cool? Okay, remember, this is like one of those examples. Remember when we watched that TED Talk and we talked about like the Venn diagram where it's like truth and lies and what's in the middle? Art. So like writing. Wonder, exactly. I think the fact that that illustration is included in this book is just one of those in-between areas where you wouldn't know that necessarily, but that's a true scene. That's a true place that is depicted in this book of fiction, and I love that. All right, last one page.
I don't remember where it said it, but like when he was painting the pictures, he said that one of his materials was a yew tree.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool that he used like that material for a book that's kind of about the yew tree.
He did. It's like, it blows my mind. He's using a yew tree branch or something to paint a yew tree, probably. I just think that's really cool. Okay, real last one, Bailey.
So this one was actually from paragraph, but I was just looking through the book and I found that on page 147, on the side of the book, it has like fingerprints and thumbprints. So you just make
Yeah, I could just see him like putting his hands in his paint and his ink and like putting his little thumbprints. It's so cool. I love Jim Kay. He's fabulous, and he's a huge part of why this book is amazing. Emily?
I liked how he said he's never been so fit because it was cold and stuff, so he had to go get warm. And I feel like most people that like write or illustrate a book, they worry about that so much that they don't care about their health. But
Yeah.
he, in a way, he did, and so he was actually fit and not like how authors would be normally or
Yeah.
illustrators.
Yeah, so that's a really good thing to pick up on, Emily. I'm picturing him in like this little cabin. In England, it gets really cold in certain parts of England. So this is all taking place in England, and he's in this little cabin, and it's freezing when he's doing all of these illustrations, and he has a deadline, right? It's not like he can just paint whenever he wants to. Like, he has people pressuring him to get this many pages done by this date, and this many pages done by this date, so he's got like a lot of stress. And I just picture him at this desk with like all these blankets around him and like all of these like weeds and like weird stuff and bugs, obviously. And he's just like painting away and using his ink, and he does his own press work. So he paints it and then he runs it through a press. I don't even know how to describe that, but it's cool and it's complicated and it takes a lot of time. So it said he like was barely sleeping. He was sleeping like 4 hours a night. And he had to keep going running because he was so cold because his little cabin was freezing. I just think, don't you, when you look at the illustrations, can't you kind of see that struggle? Like the bleak, frozen environment that these pictures were created in, and maybe the struggle that he was feeling as he was creating them, and the nature that was involved, and the randomness that was involved. I think it's very interesting. So, what I want you to do, keep these until tomorrow, and tomorrow we'll look at the illustrations more closely.
He actually lived in Georgia.
Georgia in England. It's a place in England.
Edinburgh's in Scotland.
Oh, Scotland. Aha.
Living in a beautiful
What do you want me to do with this? And then can I get my work?
Yes, keep it, put it in your folder. I'll give you your work. Yes. So, you and, let's see, Maddie are going to be gone, so I'll explain it to both of you. This is what we're doing tomorrow. So, this is kind of like some information about how art is formed. It's just like art terms. So, it's just to be a resource for you, because I want you to both to choose an illustration in the Monster Calls, find one that you like, that you're really interested in, write down the page number on here, and I want you to close read the illustration using this to help you. So you're filling in what is the illustration, like what's taking place, what scene is it, that kind of thing. How was it made? We learned a little bit about how it was made. I want you to do some inferencing there. And then tell me what does it mean and how does it help the story move along. Does that work?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Yes, ma'am.
This is something about the reading log, so do I ask a sponsor?
I could probably answer it for you. What's your question?
So I read like a little short book, and it's like 30 pages, but is it okay to count that as much?
Is that your only other book beside the book report one?
Well, I'm gonna read another book, but
Then I would definitely put it on the list and count it, but remember, we need like about 500 pages. So however many books it takes, that's cool. You should just be looking for about 500, okay? Hi, Taylor. Did you do yesterday or today before you got here? Today we finished up this. So you should have taken it home as homework if it wasn't quite finished. We divided it into thirds. The first third, we kind of synthesized all this information and wrote down 7 things about our character. And the second third, oh, it's not on the board anymore. The second third, we wrote a statement about our character, almost like a claim. Okay? That's what we did. I think that's all you missed, because then we read the article. Okay? And then we're going to keep this. Don't throw it away. Don't turn it in, because we're going to use it next week. Okay? That was all. It's here.
This is Maya's paper, and she sent it to us asking if we get a chance to look at it and give her any feedback on how she can still improve it.
Okay.
So I think she didn't write a lot, but it made it sound like she has done some improvement to it. So I'll just set her there if you get a chance. If not, you can just even tell her, like, hey, I'll look at it and give you time tomorrow.
Yeah, I'd love to.
I kind of forgot that I printed it out.
No, that's okay.
I usually print things to remind myself to
I wish I had like her previous version, because I know she got like a lower grade, but I can't remember why.
That. You could say, hey, can I see your other version so I can look at it side by side?
Okay,
I would
maybe I'll
just
do
do that. I mean,
Because then I won't be able to remember, like, oh, you
Right.
added these things.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And that's probably what she's probably trying to make sure she's making your standards.
Yeah.
And not yours, but the standards of the
Yes. And I know that she would do that, basically.
Did we just finish that yesterday?
Yes, we worked on it all day. We started something else, but I'll explain it really fast at the beginning, so you should be able to get caught up.
Okay.
It's homework if it's not quite done. Okay, perfect. You'll be fine. It is. It's like a robot. It follows me. It's cool.
That's a little scary. I thought he was just like pretending I was
Thanks. Thanks.
I said hi to his
I'll cut that part out. Hi, Malik. Hi, 6th period. It was good. I don't know yet.
Oh, you should have got a job.
They don't have a job.
San Juan County is garbage.
They don't have a job for me.
Those kids are not.
We're not going to be in high school, and 9th grade teachers, if you just want to take your entire class, that's okay, because the information about arena scheduling and registering is pretty much the same for all high schools.
You need this paper
So
out.
we'll take the time
Grab this paper.
to present to the auditorium, and have people ready to visit with you.
Hey. What? What?
My book is like 360 something pages, 390 something.
Mm-hmm.
Juice. I already read it.
Can you still do it because you already read it? I don't understand your question. Did you read it in 3rd quarter? Oh, you did. Does it have a movie on it? Sounds great. Yes. Your book versus movie showdown? You could just put it on my desk. I know, I do. Nice. It looks great, Sydney. Ah, nice. All right, are we ready? I do. Okay, really fast. There's a robot. It's recording me. Please ignore it. I have 6th period. I have 1 more week with you. And so I'm trying to get all my homework done, and part of my homework is to record myself teaching. So don't worry about it. What?
I thought it was dancing.
Well, I'll cut that part out too.
And Malik isn't there.
Please don't dance in front of it because I can't use it. Like I have to like turn it in. So pretend it's not there. That'd be the best.
What if I already did?
Well, I'll cut that part out. But now that we're starting, please ignore it.
I want to see your guys that know me.
I'll keep it for my personal.
No, you need to know me.
I'll be like, see that kid? That's Malik. Yeah. And my whole class will be like, oh, Malik. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, then I'll like sell it. Yeah, nice try. Okay, on the back of your characterization sheet, you should have it divided in thirds. No? No? Oh, well, Rachel's got it in thirds. Someone was listening. Divide it in thirds. Okay, it's not a big deal. You still have time. I just need 3 different sections, please. 3 different sections, please. I don't know if we'll have time today. Good. I'm glad. I just don't know if we're gonna do something different today, so I don't know. All right, your paper is in thirds, 6th period. Your first third is your defining characteristics that we barely had time for yesterday.
It's the bullet points when you got in the group.
The bullet points from your group, exactly. Here is what we're doing to warm up. And in your second third, this is what you're writing. All right. In the second third of that back of your paper, you're writing this statement. Based on what I know now about my character, that's what we're talking about. Based on what I know now, I think blank. I'm going to give you about 3 minutes to fill in that blank with a strong, clear claim about your character. So what I expect from you is that you're synthesizing all of the textual evidence you gathered, plus the discussion you had with your small groups yesterday, to come up with a clear claim about your character based on all that evidence we've been studying. Ella?
Does it need to be like something about their life, or can it just be like kind of like a fact about them?
It can be a fact about them, but we're beyond things like she is rude. Okay, people, we're beyond that now. We need deep, insightful claims that tell us something I don't already know about the character. That's what I'm looking for. If you say she is tall or he is cool, you will not get points for that part. I want you to synthesize all of the information from the last 2 days, basically, to tell me something I don't already know about that character. Benson?
Have you read the whole book, so if I write it and I'm right, then you know that part?
I'm okay with that, but I don't want you sharing it with anyone. Sophia, did you have a question? Second box. Second box. You have about a minute and a half left. Just a sentence, maybe 2 sentences. Sorry, Axon, what? That's cool. Yeah, that's cool. It's fine. That'll be fine. Based on what I know now, I think blank. Malik?
Does that thing record your voice too?
It does.
Hi.
It won't record you.
Why not?
Ken, did you have a different question?
Yeah.
What was your other question?
So.
Forgot? Cool. You have about 30 more seconds to finish up your claim. Based on what I know now, tell me something new about your character.
How can I get this up?
Talk to me after class.
That is creepy. Yeah, the mic makes it. I just realized it's moving.
It is. Remember what I said? We're ignoring the robot. We're ignoring the robot, 6th period. We're ignoring it. All right. I want you just for like 1 minute, turn to your partner, tell them your statement, unless it's spoiling. Benson. If it is, just say mine's spoiling. If not, 1 minute. 1 minute. Quick, quick. Wait, what? I only heard half. Oh, well, if he's read it all and you're spoiling, then it's not spoiling. Spoilers.
He said that Connor died. No, I then I told him that.
Okay, well, we don't need to spoil it. We're almost done with it. Then we won't have to worry. But we don't need to have conversations about that. All right, beautiful. Class, thank you. Here's what you're going to do with this piece of paper. That little last third section, Malik, is going to stay blank until next week. When we finish the novel completely, we're going to talk about it, and then I want to revisit this and just look at our characterization and our conclusion that we came to and just see if maybe our opinion has changed or if we know more by the end of the book about that character. So, last third, keep it blank. Make sure your name is on this. It does not have a place for your name. So everyone needs to double check that your name is on it right now. And then I'm giving you 15 seconds to put this in your folder and get back in your seat. Ready, go. And 14. That's fine. And 13. Just don't lose it. 11. 9. Oh no, we're gonna be late. 8.5. Bensley, is there someone sitting behind you today? Okay. 8.25. No, because it would probably run into stuff. Like the BB-8? No, not like the BB-8. I don't think there are yet. That's probably as smart as it gets right now.
Did you know that they have flying cars, but they aren't releasing them to the public because they're afraid people will run them into the White House?
I'd be afraid of the same thing, actually, yeah. Sorry. The very end of 5th period I did. I did choose to do 6th period today. I did. It is. I know, it sounds weird, but it is a word. There's 3.
So I finished my book report.
I'm so proud. I hope you feel like a burden has been lifted off your shoulders and you feel such relief and relaxation.
I finished my movie yesterday.
Nice. I'm so glad. All right, class. It's been way more than 15 seconds, first of all. No, remember we're ignoring the camera? All right.
Just for me?
Can I what?
Dad.
No, I'm not doing that. All right, here is, he's cooler than I am. Here is our next task, 6th period. As soon as everyone is up here with me, yes. As soon as I have everyone's focus, we will start our next task. This is a cool article about the author of A Monster Calls and the artist that did all of the illustrations. And it kind of talks about how they worked together, what their process was, and what their, their vision for the project is. So I think it informs us a lot, Jake and Malik, about the book. Our objectives for today have to do with close reading the illustrations, using strategies that we use on texts. I have a feeling we'll get to that mostly tomorrow because we're going to be looking at the artwork of A Monster Calls really closely. But I do want us to start recognizing how illustrations, especially in this book, affect the meaning of the text, how those two things can work together to create a full story. And I think they do that beautifully in A Monster Calls. So those are the two things we're going to start looking at. Malik?
Your ears are red. You should get that checked.
Okay. Let's get focused on what we're supposed to be doing. I want you to read this article to yourself, annotate it in your own way, So I'm not going to require certain annotations, but I want you to be writing questions and comments, underline, circle words, etc. while you're reading. Because by the very end, I want you to write at this very bottom part, the central idea of the article. Write me the central idea of the article when you've finished. So, what I want you to be looking for, especially while we're reading, is information about the artist, Jim Kay, and how he created these illustrations. Because that's kind of the information we're going to use tomorrow to inform us for our next activity. Do we have any questions about this task? All right, go ahead and get started. And once I see that some of us are done, I'll give you more instructions. There are highlighters up here if you want to use highlighters for annotation. In your own way. My own way is very minimalist, so it's okay.
It's okay, Jacob.
Ladies first. What's going on, Axel?
Right? These disrespectful mutants. Wait, the paper's yellow. I can't use yellow.
Actually, it does work.
Are we just like really moving or interesting, or are we like finding like?
Anything that's interesting, but your task is to find the central idea. So keep that in the back of your mind.
Okay.
But you annotate anything that interests you or sticks out to you. Okay? Class, I should hear less talking, more reading.
You write a name on it.
Yes. Just annotate it, Thomas. You're just annotating and highlighting things that stick out to you, that you think are important or interesting. And you're trying to find the central idea as well. I haven't decided yet. Probably not. At the very bottom, once you finish the front and back.
How much do we need to just like leave it the rest of it?
Whatever. this one too. Thanks. It's not supposed to be Lyra. I didn't write it in my defense. Don't forget to write the main idea. Yeah, the central idea of the whole thing. Write the central idea of the whole thing. Resonant. It means impactful or meaningful. Something that is resonant is something that stays with you. Does that make sense? If you're done reading and you have an eloquent main idea already written down, Just want you to raise your hand. I'm going to just come around. Keep reading. If you're not done, you're fine. Nice. Like it. Keep your hand raised if you're done, please. No, are you done? What's your main idea? Perfect. Cool. Nice. Will you write that on the board? Thanks. Kara, do you have a main idea written down? Write down the central idea for me. Marlon, were you raising your hand? Go write that on the board for me. Like that. Here, write that on the board. Yeah, that'll be fine. Are you guys done? Let me see here. Central ideas. Yeah, go write that on the board, Faith. Oh, sorry. Nice. I like it, Ashley. I want to come look at it. I want to come read it when you're done reading your central idea. Nice. That's perfect. Nice. Do you have one to fill out? Nice. I don't totally think that's true. Nice. All right, I'm going to give you guys about 30 more seconds to finish up. Don't forget you're writing that central idea on your paper. No, because I'm just trying to get like one of each idea, so someone kind of has your ideas already. Sorry. I only need a few. Oh, yeah, I like that. Nice. Do you want to write that? Yeah, I like that here. All right, my friends, while they're finishing up, I would like a few people to point out a part of the article that they annotated or circled or underlined that they thought was particularly interesting. Thomas, do you have a part to show me?
On the second paragraph, it
Okay.
says, although they did not meet, or the collaboration of author and illustrator had been a joyous one, although they did not meet until the book was finished and communicated meaningfully then.
Thank you. I actually highlighted that part too. I think it's interesting, just like Thomas does, that the author and the illustrator were working at the same time on the same book. They didn't actually meet until it was done. Weird, right? I believe they're actually in different countries while they're both working on it. I think Patrick Ness is in England and Jim Kay, I think, is in Scotland working. So I think they're like super separate, but they're working on the same thing, which is just like amazing to me. All right, Hadley, do you have a different part?
The part where it was talking about the yew tree, I liked how he said he used parts of the yew tree and then it talked about the yew tree in the book.
Yeah, can you guys find that for me? I think it's on the back page.
It's right there.
Oh, okay, so this big paragraph kind of at the beginning, it says he used, like, this is just like a list. He used a weathered chestnut, he used a breadboard, he used hair, string, and parts of yew trees to make his illustrations. Why do you like that part specifically, Hadley? What's significant about that?
Because it talked about yew trees in the book, too.
Mm-hmm. So it's interesting that he's using yew trees to paint pictures of yew trees. I think it's cool. I love hearing about his process, that he used all these random things and he's like throwing ink on the paper and blowing it through straws and using string and hair. And there's one picture, I don't know if you've come to it yet, but it's like all thumbprints bordering. I mean, it's cool. He's way cool. I'm a super fan of him. I read something somewhere, it wasn't in this article, it was somewhere else, that one day he was illustrating and a little bug, like a beetle, walked across his ink and then walked onto his illustration. And he kind of watched it happen and was like, huh. And he used it. He like used the little bug tracks as part of his picture. I mean, I think he's so cool. So I think it's really interesting how he...
In this book?
Yes, in that book. And I'm not sure what picture it is. I kind of looked. I'm not going to lie. But I'm not sure. If you found the beetle tracks, let me know. The fingerprint one is on the third tail. It's on page 146. So you can look at that one if you want. It's fascinating. But I love how he used all of these natural elements to kind of collage his images. I think it's really powerful. All right, Caden, do you have a different part for me?
In the last paragraph, he used the yew tree in the church grounds. That was really good.
Yeah. Actually, will you just read that last paragraph for us, Caden? Because I want to talk about that.
Kay's pictures make use of empty chairs, resonant for him because they suggest human presence, and he depicts the actual church of Oxfordshire with the yew tree in the grounds, where Swivl Dowd is buried. I had to be respectful of both Patrick's and Swivl's ideas. For me, she was arbitrary.
Thank you. Oh, I love that part. Okay, someone last period found the picture, and I can't remember where it is. It might be page 146 or something like that. Oh, crap. Well, that's why the number's in my mind. Okay, if you can find that picture, that'd be great. But it's the picture of the yew tree and the church, and there's like the gravestones. That's a real place that he painted with a real church, a real graveyard. Thank you, page 79. Merlin found it for us. Page 79, if you want to look at it. A real church, real graveyard, real yew tree. And it's the place where Swivl Dowd, who thought of this idea and began writing the book before she died of breast cancer, it's the actual place where she is buried. So, what I love about that, remember that TED Talk we watched? Remember our Venn diagram? About truth here, lies here, and what's in the middle? Art. And I think this is a perfect example of how those two things can cross, because our illustrator, our artist, painted a picture of a fictional scene in this story, but it's also a true place. He painted the actual place, and somehow it makes it so they cross over. Can you guys see what I mean by that? It just makes it like an additional opening for us to cross that door between truth and lies and art, and I think it's a beautiful bridge. I love that he did that. All right, Kara, do you have a different part for me?
Yeah, it's in the first paragraph. So, Patrick Ness was passed the baton of an idea from a previous Carnegie Medal winner,
I think it's Swivl.
Swivl Dowd, who died of breast cancer in 2008. And it kind of implies that Connor's mother has cancer.
It does. Have you guys picked up on that? Does it ever say in the book that she has cancer?
Lemon Jones
It doesn't. It doesn't say that explicitly. It never says the word cancer in the book. But as we're reading it, and we're reading about the treatments that she goes through, Gavin, we're kind of pulling on our background knowledge, and we know that's what's going on. I think we know that as we're reading it. This is another part where I just can see the fiction of this book and the reality of our world and our own experiences crossing and blending and making like this place of wonder that we can enter in. Don't you guys see that? Thank you, Kara, for pointing that part out. Does anyone else have a comment about that part specifically? Okay, cool. You guys all have different parts. Jake, tell me another part you wanted to highlight.
About 10% of what he produced made it into the finished book.
Yeah, where is that? On the back, thank you.
That's exciting.
Oh yeah, I underlined it. I knew I did, but I underlined a couple things. About 10% of what he produced made it into the finished book. And then it says, it was like Ness's writing process, a lot of revision until it was right. Why do I love that part? Yeah, because I make you guys revise your writing all the time. And it's because real life authors are revising, they're cutting out, they're rewriting, they're having peer edits, they're looking at structure and word choice, just like we do in this class. And artists do the same thing. It said Jim Kay did 90% more pictures than what's in this book. Isn't that fascinating? It's a lot of work. I think it's really cool that we get that fact in this little article. Faith, do you have a different part?
So it says, at Ness's request, Connor's face is not shown. Again, not in his primary searches in detail, so readers can identify and slip in his face.
I love that part. When you guys read that, was anyone like, oh, especially if you did your characterization on Connor, you were trying to find like what he looks like, what his hair color is, that kind of thing. What is the author telling us here, Rachel?
He doesn't like to describe it in like very detail so that the reader can create an image of what the character looks like without those descriptions and like let them use their imagination.
Perfect. Why would an author want the reader to use his or her own imagination when it comes to the main character of this book? Why would an author want the reader to be doing that? Sarah, do you have an idea?
Because it kind of like, it'll open up, like it's kind of like also like goes into like the truth in my art. Like you can kind of like open up a space and you can like, it's like you decide, and that kind of also says where it says suggestive rather than descriptive. Like I kind of like that because it was like, well, like they don't want to decide everything. They just want to they give you like the story and then they want you to take your own turns.
Beautiful, Sarah. Thank you. Jake, stop it. She said, it's another one of those bridges between truth and lies where you can kind of exist in between. And she said, the author of this book wants you to inject your own story and your own imagination into the main character so that you can connect better with the story and where you can influence the story a little bit with your own experiences. Haley?
I think it also helps you, sometimes when you show things and look like you are in the book, and I think it helps you, you can become conscious since you don't know who he is. You know who he is, but you don't know what he looks like.
So you can kind of put yourself in him as well. Beautiful. I think that's totally true. I think that's part of the author's intention. And I want you to notice, if you haven't noticed it yet, that's okay. I want you to notice in the author's description what he leaves out, especially with Connor, and in the illustrations, you'll never see Connor's face. Usually he's kind of turned away from the frame, but once in a while, his face is just blank. So I want you guys to notice that and notice how it impacts you as you're reading those parts, all right? Let's turn really fast. Thank you for highlighting some important parts for me. I want to turn really fast to these main ideas. What I want you to do with your partner next to you is read through them really quickly and choose one that you think best encompasses the central idea of this article. So choose one you most agree with. You have about a minute and a half to do that with your partner. Ready, go. Sorry, I'll move.
I think the main idea is working together to figure out
It like brings out that's another idea. It like brings out the best.
you don't always know what's coming when you're standing at the beginning of it. It took a lot of revision time and effort, but the illustration either boxes probably turned out and mass the black thing I didn't like really because it didn't say anything about that.
You have 15 more seconds to choose one. All right, class. I need your attention back up here, please. Perfect. All right. Jake and Sophia, which central idea did you choose?
You don't always know what's coming when you're standing at the beginning of the battle.
Cool. And why did you choose that to be the central idea of this article? Rachel, turn around, please. Thank you.
Because you just get an idea and you don't know what's gonna happen in the beginning and while you're going down the path, something can happen.
Okay, I think that's true, but why, for this article, does it work as the central idea? Go ahead, Sophia. You guys can, you're a partnership, you can talk.
Like when it's kind of like advice if you're gonna be like a writer, an author, or like an illustrator, like Jim Kay was, and it's kind of saying like sort of your ideas just kind of flow. Like you start out with a simple idea, and then like you don't know what's gonna happen, but you're gonna get more ideas, and eventually you come up with.
Nice, thank you. I like that one. I like how it encompasses the author, Patrick Ness, and Jim Kay and kind of their process, which is what this article is about. Very nice, you guys. All right, I want to hear from Emily and Faith. Which main idea, central idea, did you choose? This one right here. Will you read it for me, someone? Faith or Emily? Beautiful. And why did you girls choose that as the central idea for this article?
Because they like we didn't really know what they were doing at first, so it was just like a small idea, but like in the end it turns out, yeah.
Into a whole book. Faith, do you agree? Anything to add? Nice. I like that. So this whole book, everything about it, started out, just like Emily said, as a small idea. And whose idea was it? It says right on your cover. No. Siobhan Dowd. Siobhan Dowd thought of this story, class. Siobhan Dowd thought of this story about a boy named Connor, and she was forming the idea when she passed away. And Patrick Ness got a hold of this idea and developed it. And then while he was developing it, he enlisted Jim Kay to develop it even further. See how it grew and grew and grew and grew and grew? I like that way to describe the article, because I think that's true. It's kind of talking about how it's growing and becoming more complicated and more complete throughout.
What if they're gonna see
I doubt it. Patrick Ness has written lots of other books, but I doubt that they're going to be a sequel. This was.
Is there Jim, like, the illustrator Jim Kay?
Yeah, oh, you guys, you got to know this. Jim Kay just illustrated all of the Harry Potter books. They are beautiful. They're amazing. They make me want to cry a little bit. I would own them. I know. I would own them if it was like not $100 per book, but they're amazing. So go home, Google Jim Kay, Harry Potter. You'll be amazed. You'll cry a little bit inside because he's done some amazing work with that concept as well. All right, I don't want to derail you. I want to do one more main idea from Sierra and Cannon. Which main idea did you choose?
The black one.
The black one, this one, or this one? This one. Great. Will you read it for me, Sierra, really fast?
It took a lot of revision time and effort. The illustrations of Monster Calls turned out to match the theme of the book exactly the way the author and an inspiration wanted to.
Beautiful. Tell me why you two chose that as the central idea for this article.
Because it's really detailed, like actually explains it kind of.
So you like how detailed and specific it is. What do you think, Cannon? Why is that central idea so effective for you?
Because it talks about the theme.
It does. It mentions the theme. And do you think it does a good job of like explaining the theme or explaining the article? Excellent. Anything to add? Anything to develop? Did anyone else choose this one as their central idea? Thomas, Sydney, your partnerships. Sydney, tell me why you and Sarah sort of chose that one.
Well, we chose both the black ones.
Okay, I could deal with that.
We chose that one because it had so much detail and it like summed it up like really nicely. And you could just like by reading that you kind of want to read the article again.
I like that. Thank you. Yeah, Sarah.
Also like with that one, it says it turned out to match the theme of the book exactly the way the author and his inspiration wanted it to. But like I think it was like it turned out exactly, but I think when it ended up, like when they first like finished it, it was like I remember it. It was like a first impression of the book, so that's exactly how he wanted it because that was his first impression of it. I think, and like it's his inspiration, like imagination, and so like. Although like, I think he didn't have like a perfectly clear picture, but as soon as like he saw it, like he could like picture it.
It was almost like he recognized it. Like, yes, that's what I meant from the very beginning.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying, Sarah. I agree. I like that one too because it's specific and it goes through all of the parts of the article. It talks about the illustrator, the inspiration, who's Siobhan Dowd, and the author and how they work together and how it ended up. So I think that one's really great. Remember, when you are doing central idea, you need to decipher the most important parts and be specific so we know you're talking about this article. I think these are great examples, and you guys did a great job. I just want to remind you. Make sure your name is on this. We will be using it tomorrow, so please put it in your folder or in your binder somewhere where you can bring it to me tomorrow as well. I need your highlighters and markers back in this box, and you cannot throw it. And I'll see you tomorrow. Nope, put it in your folder or backpack so bring it tomorrow. Yes.
So,
Yes. Oh, yes. Let's talk. So I only took off 1 point for that. I can give you back that 1 point if you want. It was late, so that's part of it. And then let's look at, this is good, that is good. This was pretty good. I took off a few points because, and it got a little sparse. Like I could see, sorry, I should turn this off. Like look how detailed this is, very detailed, and then it got a little like less. So that's why, yeah, well, I took off some points for that. So it looks like this is what's killing you the most. So let's see what, I have to remind myself what it was. right here. Missing a lot of evidence or author tags. If you have the evidence, I can't tell because you didn't cite it. I don't have author tags. Remember, each paragraph, each of the body paragraphs needs 2 pieces of textual evidence, just like your outline. That's why we did this. So if this is one body paragraph canon, you have one piece, another piece in every single one. That's what is missing. That's what's taking away your points. I'm sorry. And don't forget that you're writing this to the principal. So a couple times you say, we need to protest uniforms. We don't want uniforms. Remember, you're writing this to the principal. So just remember your audience as well. Does that answer your question?
So how can I get my grade up?
I want you to do a revision on Utah Compose.
Okay.
So add that evidence. That's the biggest thing. Try to fix, like I have notes here. You're missing a big claim too. Those are like huge for argumentation, right? Add those things. Underline everything that you added or changed. When you print it out, underline it all. And then I want you to give me that and this with a little few sentences on why you made the changes you made, okay? So I want you to understand why I need more evidence and then write me about why. Okay. That work? Yep. Okay, good job.
So our book versus movie, are we supposed to summarize the book in the first paragraph?
No. Okay. Just state what it is. You do need some background information, so I see why you're saying that. But it's not informational about the book. It's just telling me why it's better. So I don't need a big summary.
The characters?
As much as I would do that, I would say Harry Potter, who's the main character, that's as much as I would do. You do need it to make sense. But
another character named Dickon, but he's
cool. You could say Dickon is Harry Potter's brother or his uncle. Whatever that is, you don't have to give me a whole backstory. Does that help? Okay. It's not. It recorded 6th period. Because